MMA, one of the best commentators in the world. He does press conferences, does a lot of stuff for Misfits. He does a lot of stuff for a lot of organizations. One of the best minds in the game, one of the best voices in the game. And now he's on MTV on a reality show. I got to talk to him. I cannot wait. I watched the show yesterday, do a little recon, a little research and recon, talking about the one and only Ben the Bane Davis.
Oh, it is good to be back on the best combat sports show on the planet. L. Dustin, good to see you. And my man, David Van Auken. How are you, sir?
Good, brother. How are you, man? How's life, man?
Listen, I just got to start things off. The new Fantastic Four movie, get out of town. First steps, 10 out of 10. I will say, if you're carb loading with some chicken fettuccine Alfredo in New Mexico before you view it, ill-advised. That was a bad strategy. My stomach hurt the entire fucking movie. But the film was excellent.
Dude, I said this to Ellie Grant yesterday. I loved it. It was all heart, Ben. It was all about family and heart. I loved the movie. It was great.
That's the portrayal you lead with, Al. Al, you got to be a Fantastic Four fan, right?
Okay. I was a huge fan of the comics. I was a comic book kid. So I love Fantastic Four. I grew up on X-Men, Fantastic Four, The Punisher, all the best comics. However, I was not in love with either of the movie renditions, to be completely honest. I thought they were both okay. Yes. And so I kind of assumed that this one would also just be okay. I haven't seen it yet. Dave told me it was so good, but Dave overplays any movie ever. So I hear your recommendation, and I will take it under consideration.
We talk every single day. I say something to you, you're like, I don't know. Ben Davis comes on the show, and he says something, you're like, okay, I'm leaving the show. I'm going to go watch Fantastic Four right now. This is unbelievable, Ben. This is what I got to work with every week, Ben. Every week.
David, when everything's a 10 out of 10, nothing's a 10 out of 10. Special ratings must be reserved for truly fantastic IPs. And L, your skepticism following the previous iterations of F4, valid, fair, warranted. I get that mentality. I encourage you, nay, I implore you to go check this one out. Fantastic.
Oh, Dave, it's the turtleneck. He just looks so professional. He looks so authoritative.
I'm literally wearing a shirt about how great your husband is. That's what I'm doing. I'm literally wearing a shirt about your husband.
That's crazy. That's crazy, Al. How dare you?
Thank you, man. This is unbelievable.
I love you.
All right, let's talk about you, brother. We'll go in the MMA stuff. APFC, incredible. The show, watch it every time. You and David Evans, my second favorite commentary booth in the business. I love you guys. But real quick, MTV, I had to watch it because you're on it. I watched it on YouTube yesterday. My first question is, like, how did this come to be? Did you reach out to them, or did somehow they get to you? How did that happen?
It's a long story. In episode 0, they're calling it the best 10 seconds of reality TV history, me in the background. So how I wound up on season 41 of MTV's The Challenge, I'd done a show, Fight Circus in Thailand last year in March, and one of the directors, producers that have been brought in has a lot of experience in reality TV, in Hollywood, has done so many fantastic projects, and we hit it off while we were there in Phuket. A couple weeks after the show, we're on the phone catching up, and I just sort of offhandedly asked, like, dude, how do people get into this? Like, what is the, nuances of the industry and the casting process? And he just sort of was like, well, which one would you want to go on? Now, David and Elle, I don't watch reality TV. It's actually not current viewing in the Davis household. But I'd seen season 24 of The Challenge years back. Rivals 2, great season. And so during this conversation, I just pulled that out of my ass. And I think he then concluded, oh, Ben's a big Challenge fan, which, of course, I let him believe that. Why would I, why would I stand in the way of his conclusion? And he actually worked with the casting director for many years on one of the other shows that he'd done and was like, let me, give her a call and just check where they're at with their casting process and see. And by happenstance, a lot of luck as usual, there was an opening, and I went through this whole audition process, sending in tapes, filling out forms, doing a physical psych eval, and it literally was like from April to mid-December of last year. And I think like December 15th, I got a call, and they were like, hey, so by the way, you're on the main cast. You leave February 10th. Get ready to rock and roll in Santiago. And I was like, oh boy, another side quest kind of, accomplished.
and I think I can ask you this. I'm sorry, one more. I think I can ask you this. And I reached out to you. I feel like a jerk now, but I think it is a good thing. You said, hey, I got to go off of social media for a while. Is this the reason why you did that?
So this is exactly why I had that social media break post. In fact, I talked to the MTV social team and I was like, would this be smart? You know, this explains the hiatus. I'm someone that's chronically online, too much online. And so I figured that me just disappearing out of the blue would be kind of odd, right? I think some people would be like, where the fuck did he go? And so having some sort of explanation made sense to me. Now, gang, here's where I fucked up. It makes it seem like I'm going through some like midlife crisis.
I sent you a thing. I'm like, are you all right, bro? I did that. I did it.
I feel like that's what Twitter thought. Twitter was like, what's wrong with Ben?
Ben's, something is crumbling in Ben's life. And no, I just poorly phrased it. I butchered the phrasing. And so the problem was like I posted that February 10th as I'm going to, Miami. That's where we had the connecting flight. And so I'm just getting this influx of people being concerned. And I'm just like, oh no, I have abused everybody's kindness and I won't be able to rectify this maybe ever.
You're all good in our hearts here at Fight Bananas. But it was, I saw that because you're everywhere and then shows that you do. And it was just like, hey guys, I have to take a break for a while. I was like, whoa, something going on. But dude, like I said, I watched the episode 0. Great episode. How hard was that mountain, man? Like that was a thing, my man. That looked tough.
Yeah. So I think this will obviously be the trend for every challenge season, but this one in particular, they make it look a lot easier than it was. We got through that mountain maybe 9 minutes into the runtime of the 60-minute episode. It took me 4.5 hours. And the incline was like so stupid that you're bear crawling at some point, and it's all loose rock and gravel. And so you do see me, one of my 10 seconds in episode 0, I touched the rock. I'm in 12th place. Not great. And I finished that actually 15th. So like as I'm coming down the mountain, 3 people did get by me because I was just so concerned. I was thinking about my ACL, my knees, all this, because if I fall on day 1 and blow everything out, then that would really be a bummer. So, when people are flying by me down this mountain, I was just thinking, you know what? Slow is the turtle, but is consistent is he, right?
You'd be the only one without major injuries at the end of the show.
Exactly. And the veterans, because this season's Vets and New Threats, you've got 16 of the greatest challenge players of all time opposite yours truly and 15 of my buds. And I don't want to say that they're old, David L. I don't want to say that they're coming out of the retirement home or, past it by any way, shape, or form. But
CT?
The medical... listen, CT came in about 280. Boy was big. And he leaned out. He leaned out as the season progressed. But, man...
have to.
Yeah, he told me, he was like, this is my fat camp. I come here just to, get back in shape. And I was
surprised. I was shocked.
Yeah, but it was a good one. A lot happens, crazy shit. I cry about 9 times in the first 2 weeks. And so I imagine that'll be probably my biggest contributions to the episodes.
I can't wait. Did you, and Elle, please take it away after this. I'll talk to Ben all day. I want you to definitely get in here.
I'm just here.
And I don't know if it's going to be on the show, and I don't know what you're allowed to say or not say, but did you talk to the house about, I would assume, mixed martial arts or the UFC or boxing? Where did people kind of come to you, be like, hey, are you the I get this all the time, Ben, like, hey, are you the UFC guy? I'm like, no, I don't work for the UFC. I cover it. I own a co-own a media outlet that covers it, but you know what I mean? Did they come to you with fighting questions or conversations?
There was a level of enthusiasm from those that were, fans of combat sports in the house. Yeah. Johnny Bananas owns a Rumble boxing gym in Boca. He's good friends with John Anik. And so him and I had a lot of great discussions about MMA and UFC. And when they learned that I did BKFC, that was something that caused such a stir in some people. They're like, you, of all people, did bare knuckle boxing? Fat crying Ben? Why the hell did you do that? And I was like, I don't know. But it was funny. And I will say, there is such a strict, hold on technology. They don't want you having your phones, your laptops, or anything else. And maybe I can't say this. This will be a Fight Bananas exclusive. But there was a treadmill that was unfortunately connected to the internet. And so you were able to kind of go in and swipe through. And so I was keeping up to date on all of the UFC events. And when I saw Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong's fight ended in an eye poke, I was sitting there on the treadmill well, that's fucking weird. So I did try and stay as up to date as I could on UFC while locked in the house.
There you go.
Did anybody get to watch your bare knuckle fight on the little treadmill screen or?
If I was having viewing parties for me getting my ass kicked, that would be the most depressing viewing party ever. So one of the vets, his name's Rogan. He was actually in Marbella at the BKFC fight, and he was like, "Oh, I met you that night. It was great." And I was concussed. I don't remember meeting him. But so there was him. He'd known a little bit about me, and then Jake Cornish, one of the other new threats, actually had boxed on Misfits. So he competed at X Series 17, the Dublin card. He was in our cruiserweight tournament, and so when I shit you not, I get down there in Santiago. We're all getting our luggage, and he comes strolling up, and I genuinely was like, "What the fuck are you doing here, dude?" And casting had no clue that we were, acquainted with one another. So it was quite funny, sort of heading into the house with a little bit of familiarity for a couple people.
Cool.
So
cool.
My question is, I don't watch really any reality TV. I did get, my friend was like, watch Love is Blind with me. And it'll be so entertaining. And I did for a little bit, and then I just decided I hated everybody on the show too much, and it was bad for my mental state. So that was my one little stint with reality television. For people who aren't reality TV people, how would you sell the challenge? Because obviously it's a very different style of reality TV than like what we're used to with like Jersey Shore or Love Island or any of those. Like, how would you just sell it to the people who don't watch reality TV?
The best pitch I can make for MTV's The Challenge is that a lot of these other shows that are gaining so much popularity are very one-dimensional. Love is Blind, Love Island, all these dating shows. It's just about the artificial manufactured romance between these annoying fucking people that you just can't stand, right? Whereas I think The Challenge offers such a multi-layered product where, yes, there is romance, and there's people hooking up in the house, and there's this whole social and political game and deception and all that intrigue. But at the same time, then we're escorted out 2 times, 3 times a week to the hardest fucking like literally daily challenges that you could ever construct, that a literal, I believe, like CIA executive is putting together and creating this in showrunner Justin Booth. So, I would say, to point like references and to pull from other shows, it is like a combination of the Love is Blind, the Love Islands, but it's also a combo of like Survivor, a combo of American Ninja's Warrior, Wipeout, like you are just getting so much more that, I mean, and trust me, there are clips of me having some bad Wipeout moments this season that I can't wait to share. So it just offers more. And there are those same tropes. I mean, it's reality TV. If you just don't like the genre, then maybe it won't be for you. But I do think that this offers something for everybody in a way that not many shows can.
And dude, Ben, we will get into MMA at one time, I promise. But I know this is the now thing that you're into. Do you like? I'm a big Marvel guy, right? We just talked about Fantastic Four, and like those guys, they go on Jimmy Fallon's show, and they're like trying to ask him about Secret Wars, and they're not allowed to say anything, like literally buying to stuff. How are you with this? Like, where are you on what you're able to say, or is there something that you can't say who's going to win or who's next? Is there some kind of law, or did you have to sign something?
There's an NDA that I'm operating under. It would be so funny ahead of episode 1 to just be like, so these people won the season. But yeah, very strict NDA. Obviously, all the types of penalties you can imagine associated with it. But in terms of like other communication from MTV, there's a little bit of a gray, ambiguous area on like what I can get into, what I can't. Things from like my perspective that I saw that weren't aired. I'm like, can I say that type of stuff in public domain or not? I operate on the whole do now, apologize later policy. So, anything's on the table until it's not.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. I like it. Unless if you have anything else on the MTV thing, I got so much MMA stuff for Ben, especially this past weekend, APFC out there in Albuquerque, not even so. I think this, Ben. I was actually at the very first Showtime Pettis show. Before they had to switch all the names and all that stuff. It was in Lakeland, Florida. Great show. And not even just everything that APFC does and Damon does, but of course with you and David Evans, and then just the competition and the fighters that go through APFC. It is, I remember like years ago, it was LFA, and then it was Contender, and then it was the UFC. Yeah. To me, and I'm not trying to be negative on LFA at all, but just you guys at least have definitely done this to them or even better. I just love where APFC is at right now in the summer of 2025.
That's a massive compliment. Thank you. I can't take really any credit for all those types of big decisions, but to the point on LFA's, I would say complacency over the last couple of years. They are the gold standard of regional MMA, and it doesn't feel that they've, had any reason to evolve, right? Credit to them. They're in the number one spot, but, you look at places like APFC or CFFC or what Cage Warriors does, and there is like a steam, there's an ambition, a fire in these respective groups' minds. All the people down in Florida that, I don't know, you just don't really get that sense maybe from LFA at the moment. And that's not to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form, simply an observation. But we do such a good job, I think, of matchmaking most fights effectively. It's regional MMA. Sometimes you got a 2-9 trash can that comes in to get steamrolled. It occurs. But for the most part, these fights are very fair, and they feature people that should have a good shot of making it to the next level.
I think something that's so important too is, like, you're talking about LFA. I get what you're saying, just the complacency. Mm-hmm. Like, they're still building guys and sending people to the UFC like they always have been, but I feel like there's a vacuum in regional MMA right now that a show like LFA could be trying to fill by maybe doing more shows or providing another banner for fighters to fight under and trying to develop more fighters, because there really is a massive shortage of regional MMA. So I'm so excited to see fighters like Anthony Pettis try to fill that vacuum and provide opportunities, because it's like, hey, you guys got any atom weights? Call me. Because it's rough out here. There's so few shows, and people are trying to protect their records so they can get on Contender Series, especially this time of year. Nobody wants to take a risky fight, So I think it's so important what they're doing. I don't really have a question. I'm just talking at you. So.
And it's a great, interesting thought of LFA's, decision making, because they have done a beautiful job of international, exploring and putting shows down in South America. But I do think that within the domestic United States, there's a bit of a hole. There's a bit of a vacuum. And when you see places like CFFC innovate in the ways that they do with sort of a developmental league, their BJJ series, you sort of look at LFA and how long they've been on top and sort of ask, well, where were these innovations, evolutions attached to this gold standard product? Don't have those answers, probably won't ever, have that type of knowledge on the why not. But I don't know. Either way, it does feel like MMA is in a weird, unique spot just from a macro standpoint. So I don't know. All we can control is what's in front of us.
I think a question that you'll love, or just the genre, because I think that me and you have taken this avenue and I love it. Everything else, the UFC, the hood ornament of combat sports, especially mixed martial arts, but everything else that has came in the last 3, 4, 5 years, Misfit Boxing, Bare Knuckle FC, with Game Bred, BK MMA and Dirty Boxing, Karate Combat. There's all these other things that weren't here 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that people are making a living, fighters, commentators, people that cover the sport, all over it. Where are you at on it? Are you as much as a fan as I am of everything else, brand risk boxing and everything else that just gives opportunities to fighters, commentators, people that that cover the sport? Are you as much a fan as I am?
Absolutely. It's a development that affects all boats in the sea, right? The tide is rising, right. Everybody is winning. I would say that not every new show is the best.
Sure.
You mentioned a brand risk. Look, I respect Aiden Ross for wanting to be interested in combat sports, and he's doing a good job. But, you can tell the difference between a guy in Aiden who is maybe trying to do it mostly himself, and a team like Misfits that has these key players that have the combat sports experience, industry knowledge to do it at a different level. But the spectrum, to your point, that we're seeing emerge is exciting. And for all of us that work on air and have interest in the broadcasting side of it, more opportunities, more play-by-play, more hosting, more reporting, more announcing. So I can never be too mad at that. But it is funny to see just the good and the bad and the ugly, maybe, of everybody's attempt.
That's combat sports, though. I feel like it's always been a little bit of that, the good, the bad, and the ugly, for sure. I got a
lingerie fighting championship had such a great run in Vegas way back when, right? Like that was probably, I would say, the early mid 2000s equivalent to like what we're seeing with influencer boxing. Elle, you're laughing. I think you've seen some LFC shows.
It's to me, I get what you're saying. Like, yes, it's great. There's more opportunity, but there's also so much less opportunity for actual serious MMA fighters that want to do MMA. And that disappoints me because it's very clear that there are players that are capable of putting shows on, but they're so much more interested in doing something different and creating a new rule set instead of building something that can actually help fighters get to the UFC. And I wish more people were interested in putting on regional shows because as a fighter, that's where we're lacking. Like, I don't want to be I don't care about being a karate combat fighter. I don't care about being the best, the cutest girl to put on Misfits gloves. I don't care about that. Like, I want an opportunity to fight.
You would rake in Misfits, Elle. You would rake.
I respect it. I appreciate what it does for the sport as overall, because I do think it brings more eyes to combat sports in general. And I think there's audiences that we never would have even touched if we didn't have Misfits, Dirty Boxing, Power Slap. Like, I really do see what it's doing to bring eyes to the sport, but I also wish we just had more APFCs.
It doesn't solve the problem for everybody. There's not the solution for that
personal
audience.
problem. So,
which is the most important problem. I mean, making sure Elle Dawson's boxes are checked is, I would say, utmost priority.
Unbelievable. I got two more for you, Ben. One fight question, then one personal question. Fight question I'll start with first. We're halfway we're getting into August of 2025. What has been the UFC moment that, is kind of taken over for you, something big that might even happen in the future, like a fight announcement or like an Ilia Topuria type of thing, or John Jones leaving the sport? What has been one of these storylines of UFC 2025 that's connected with Ben Davis?
Muhammad Yahya getting knocked down 7 fucking times still making it to the dock stoppage. Credit to him. No, I would say this one's more recent, but something that really truly connected with me was Dustin Poirier's retirement. I really gravitated towards the Diamond's story since I got into the sport in 2017. He's always been an action fighter, always been a great ambassador and representative of the sport. And for me, if you're operating with great moral ethics, then I'm a huge fan for life. And that's what Dustin's always been. And it was always such a shame to see him get to that point and never truly be able to capture it. But it's maybe not about those singular achievements, but the journey along the way, I think, that Poirier represented. And for him to get this swan song in New Orleans against an opponent like Max Holloway, who, when we talk about greatest rivalries of all time, maybe they didn't have the bad blood, but what a unique story, starting the career together, right? Having the midway point in 2019 at UFC 236 and now concluding it. Just a great packaging, right? And yes, again, didn't get that win in that moment, but great fight, showed all the perseverance and durability and gutsiness, right? Will to win that we love Dustin for. And I think these days, you just don't get moments like that. You don't have these special celebrations of athletes that I think they deserve much more often than we get. So I would say, recent as hell, but boy, that did bring a little tear to old Ben's eye.
Probably the correct answer.
On that same topic, like you brought up, you don't feel like we see those send-offs a lot. We've asked a few different people this question. Are there other fighters you think are deserving of a diamond level send-off that maybe didn't get it or that will get it in coming years?
I think that Jose Aldo didn't really receive the type of best conclusion to his career that he deserved. Feeding him to these bottom top 15 bantamweights was just an odd move. I don't know if that was ever his intention. Him telling Dana and the brass, look, I want to get back to the belt, feed me these prospects, I can beat them, no worries. Or if that was more them saying, hey, here's what we have for you. Us not getting Cruz, what a shame. And him not having this send-off in Brazil, was just a missed moment, right? A missed opportunity. I think a guy that is currently active that deserves that same level of treatment in his final outing, probably Charles Oliveira. Hopefully we get something Brazil-based for his last fight. Not that it's coming too soon, right? But that would be a guy that if they don't do something remarkable for him when it's all said and done, I would be a bit peeved.
It's so funny you said that. It's so that you mentioned Dominic Cruz. I think they really missed the boat on Stipe Miocic. It's like the greatest, maybe heavyweight of all time, and I know is Jones and I know is Madison Square Garden, but like, we all kind of knew this was probably his swan song. They couldn't have had a little video for him afterwards, be like, hey, Stipe, thank you for one of the great heavyweight runs in our history. Here's a 40-second video of you knocking out a couple people, him doing the dance, him beating DC. Hey, hats off to you. I think they missed a couple of those.
On
Guys,
the other side of that, is there anybody who got a send-off that you thought shouldn't have gotten it?
Anthony Lionheart Smith. Okay. What's he doing?
To go on a rant.
What is he doing? How does he get a video in his hometown? It is in his house. Don't even get me started on that, L.
As you know, it's the network is your net worth, and Anthony Smith has a fantastic network, clearly, of key decision makers that influenced, a celebration of a good career, a title challenger, somebody that had like a very funny amount of main events, despite not ever, maybe deserving them at times. But yeah, I think that a fighter equal to Anthony and getting that same high treatment. Oh gosh, I just had him off the top of my head. Camera. Did Lauren Murphy get a retirement package? Did she get some big send-off?
Michelle Watterson did.
Yeah.
She did?
Yeah, Michelle did. Jillian beat Michelle, and they gave Michelle a video. It's like,
yeah, that's an odd one. Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know if we needed to beef that up.
The karate hottie?
Very early season of Tough. Like, I could see them kind of being like pioneer of women's martial arts, but it might have been, when compared to people who haven't gotten it.
It's hard because it's like you don't want to come down on individual fighters for receiving that type of treatment. It's just such a frustrating element that it isn't industry-wide.
Michelle Watterson.
Yeah.
I think it's
equally as great.
It's also the way you manage your own retirement too. You see a lot of fights. With Jose Aldo, it's hard for us to be upset about it because that's kind of on him. He retired, he came back. And maybe the UFC knew, okay, he's not really retired because he keeps calling us going, okay, well, maybe I'm going to come back. So they're like, all right, well, maybe we don't do a send-off for him. And then you lose to the number 13 guy. It's like, he doesn't look like Jose Aldo anymore. He still is. And he's still, his legacy is still great, but it's like the back and forth of I'm retired, I'm not retired makes it kind of difficult,
You got to cut them slack. You got to cut the brass some slack. If they're not being informed and it's not communicated to them, hey, this is definitely the last one, how can they possibly on the fly pull up a package or whatever else? But that I guess before every one of those late Jose Aldo fight bookings, it probably would have been smart of everyone to go, Jose, is this is the last one, right? Like before it's even signed,
He's the kind of guy who's like, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. One more.
Being there,
One more for Ben Davis, and then we will let him run. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time, like always. At the end, throw us your social stats, all that good stuff. But my last one for you, Ben. We are in the summer of 2025. When the calendar turns 2030, Ben Davis will be doing
dead, gone. There'll be an alleyway, and I'll just be laid out in it. Gunshots, probably 9 of them. I think that's how it's gonna end. I don't know where. Maybe like Little Rock, Arkansas, but someplace. I'll be just trashed.
Okay, there we go. All right, guys, the one and only.
Yeah, you can't get David. You can't get a sentimental ending out of me.
Man, baby. I know. I'm trying to make you cry, but I'm trying to pull the Ariel Hawani heartstrings here. You want to talk about your family? Do you want to talk about a lost cousin? What do you want to talk about? Let's pull an Ariel.
I opened this up talking about my diarrhea because my chicken fettuccine Alfredo due to the Fantastic Four filming. This ain't the emotional one. No, in 2030. 2030, it's so hard, man, because I would say in the last couple years of getting deeper into this industry, the only thing I've really learned is that you can't prep, you can't forecast, things change on a dime. People you thought would be in your corner forever dissipate out of nowhere. Jobs you think are going to be career-defining are gone a month later. So it's so impossible for me to predict what I'll be up to in 2030, but I think all I can guarantee is that when we hit that mark, I'll be trying as hard as I can, giving it everything I have, as usual, and trying to flip over every stone and make the most of it.
I love it. Well, I'm not crying, you're crying, but Ben got his dream guest situation. Love it, dude. The great Sean Stillman. He's here often. We appreciate you, Sean. Ben, dude, we appreciate you. Dude, what's your handle, IG, one of the best Twitter games in the business? I feel you. Didn't you just do something? You're doing something with Stadium now? Am I right on that?
Yeah, so I'm hosting this show called Combat Zone on Stadium, which is associated with the Bally's Network. Definitely tune in there. We've got some fun stuff. Just did a lot of coverage on BKFC Hollywood, Perdomo and Adams, and we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff with Glory, PFL, few other organizations that we're going to be chopping it up with. But yeah, at Ben the Bane Davis on all platforms. The thing I'm most pumped up for right now is the Do Not Resuscitate podcast that I just started. It's a reality TV based podcast. So if you're more interested in that and getting more of my thoughts on being on the challenge or other reality TV IPs, definitely head to DNR Pod. New episode coming Friday.
I love it. I love it. Coming Friday. Are you going to be in Hollywood in a couple weeks?
I don't think so. No, is PFL's heading there?
Yeah.
No, I've got, that's August 12th, I think, right? That they're in
The next week.
next week.
No, yeah, the next week, the 19th. We got a big live show, August 19th. If you're in the area, we would love to have you come through. We're going to be doing a live show at Hard Rock. Just throwing it out.
Ooh, I mean, that's sweetening the deal, David. Now I'll have to check the schedule and
there we
see.
go. There we go. Make it happen. Dude, Ben, we appreciate you anytime. Like I said, I told you this off air. If you ever need anything, any platform, any reason, come on anytime you want. We'd love to have you on, and we appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, David. Great seeing you as always. I'll see you soon.
Good to see you, man.
The great Ben Davis.